Do you have a temper? Are you tough?
I feel that I've learned not be in denial with who you are. Don't blame people for things that go wrong in your life. You have to take that responsibility as yourself. And not be in denial that, okay, I had an issue. No, embrace that you had an issue and deal with it. You know what I mean?
So no regrets, no regrets.
No regrets, but lessons, you know, understood the lessons that I had to go through in my life.
Y'all, the tea is boiling. The FBI came through, confirming that some big-name celebs were lured by Naomi Campbell into Diddy's FreakOffs. Yep, it's giving wild Hollywood secrets exposed, and we're here for it. From secret parties to jaw-dropping names on the list, this story is straight out of a scandalous movie plot. So who got caught up in this mess, and how deep does it go? Well, let's start with Naomi Campbell. Naomi's name is being dragged into some messy allegations. First, there were rumors about her mishandling charity money, and now folks are saying she was caught up in Diddy's criminal enterprise. Word on the street is Naomi wasn't just a supermodel. Allegedly, she was the madam, running the whole operation. Reports claim she lured young girls and boys into Diddy's circle, promising them supermodel stardom with big agencies. Instead, they were forced to sign NDAs and put in situations nobody signed up for. Now, here's the kicker: Naomi was the last person anyone thought would be mixed up in this mess, especially after that whole Epstein Island drama. You'd think sis would have learned her lesson, but nope, she's still out here caught up in all kinds of shady business. And if you're wondering how all this came to light, well, that's a whole nother thing. Police were already investigating her for misusing charity funds. We're talking about millions of dollars that were supposed to help underprivileged communities. But instead of doing good, Naomi was out here splurging on luxury vacations, private jets, and all kinds of nonsense. And while digging into those shady transactions, police stumbled onto a whole other layer of crimes, all linking her back to Diddy. And get this, there's even a rumor that Naomi was in the same room when Diddy tried to assault Snoop Dogg. They say Snoop's drink was spiked and he was dragged into a room where Naomi was. But before anything could go down, Snoop's wife busted in, grabbed her husband, who was barely conscious, and got him out of there. But that is just the beginning. It keeps getting wilder. There's more tea on Naomi Campbell. Beyond her involvement in Diddy's drama, Naomi's been caught up in scandals that had folks giving her some serious side-eye. Between 1998 and 2009, she was convicted 11 times for mistreating people who worked for her. Let's start with her assistant Georgina, who accused Naomi of grabbing her by the throat and hitting her with a phone back in 1998. The alleged reason? Naomi was frustrated over a delay at Canadian Customs. But Naomi didn't stop there. Her next assistant, Vanessa Frisbee, also accused her of attacking her during a heated argument. Naomi denied everything and even had the audacity to countersue Vanessa. And honestly, we could go on and on about these incidents, but there's only so much time in the day. What's clear is that Naomi seemed to have a pattern of violent behavior, which some people have pointed out is eerily similar to the stories coming out about Diddy. And speaking of questionable connections, Naomi wasn't just hanging around shady men, she was in the mix with straight-up war criminals. Back in 2010, she was dragged into court to testify against former Liberian President Charles Taylor. This man was accused of war crimes, including arming Sierra Leone's brutal rebels during the country's civil war. And guess what? Charles gifted Naomi blood diamonds during her stay at Nelson Mandela's house in South Africa.
I had a knock at my door, and I opened my door, and two men were there and gave me a pouch and said, "A gift for you."
At first, Naomi denied everything when asked about it in interviews, even storming out at one point. But when she was finally summoned to court, she admitted two mysterious men showed up at her place in the middle of the night and handed her the diamonds. She claimed she didn't keep them and instead donated them to charity, but the whole situation was sketchy enough to tarnish her image.
In there? And there was very small, dirty-looking stones.
Campbell said she gave the stones to a friend who was then director of Nelson Mandela's children's charity.
It's safe to say Naomi's name is deep in the mud. But it goes deeper. Naomi's story about those blood diamonds opened up a lot of doors, and not so good ones too. Her former assistant, Carol White, and actress Mia Farrow were both with her on that trip and spilled some tea. They claim Naomi knew exactly where those diamonds were coming from, and she wasn't shy about it. Carol says Naomi was all flirty with Charles Taylor that night, and when she got the diamonds, she was practically over the moon, even showing them off. But the plot thickens because Jeffrey Epstein's name pops up too. Yep, Naomi's been linked to Jeffrey and some very disturbing allegations. After Epstein's arrest, the receipts came out, and it turns out Naomi allegedly visited Epstein's infamous island. The feds revealed she took 5 flights on the Lolita Express between 2001 and 2003. Two of those flights originated in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where Epstein's private island of filth and debauchery was located. A couple of other flights were to Sao Paulo, Brazil. And here's the deal: Epstein was a regular at Victoria's Secret shows, and witnesses claim he was often seen leaving with Naomi after the events.
Yes, I knew him. I was introduced to him on my 31st birthday by my ex-boyfriend Flavio. He was always front and center at Victoria's Secret shows.
Did you suspect what he was doing?
No. And what he's done is indefensible. And when I heard of what he'd done, it sickened me to my stomach, just like everybody else. Because I've had my fair share of sexual predators, and thank God that I had good people around me that protected me from this.
And we finally get to Diddy and his connection to Naomi. Naomi once claimed Diddy was like a brother to her, but the receipts, they tell a different story. Back in 2001, it's rumored they were dating, even though she's tried to downplay it ever since. But when Diddy's shady dealings started coming to light, Naomi quickly deleted every picture of them together from her Instagram. Digging deeper, folks realized Naomi wasn't just casually connected to Diddy, she was deeply involved. She was a regular at all his parties, including his 54th birthday bash in London and his album release party. And let's be real, we know what usually goes down at those events: freak-offs. Naomi was there too, and she knows very well what was going down. And remember when Diddy flew out to London with Young Miami just to surprise Naomi with a cake for earning her PhD? Now, Diddy doesn't go out of his way for just anyone. Rumor has it, she was even one of the people supplying him with, well, let's just say it wasn't cake. Things got even shadier when a video surfaced of Kenyan-American influencer Elsa Majimbo exposing Naomi. According to Elsa, when she was 19, Naomi brought her into her circle and introduced her to wealthy men, pushing her to form relationships with them. When Elsa tried to pull away, Naomi was furious and retaliated by blackballing her and sabotaging her career. But there's more to Diddy and Naomi. People are starting to piece together the long-standing connection between Naomi and Diddy, a bond that spanned over 20 years. But with all the drama surrounding Diddy lately, Naomi's recent moves have fans raising their eyebrows. Folks can't help but wonder what's really going on between them. For context, just last year, Naomi threw Diddy a huge 53rd birthday party at Lavo in London, packed with A-list celebs like Janet Jackson and Idris Elba. But things got awkward fast. A week after the party, Diddy's ex, Cassie, came forward with some heavy allegations, and suddenly both Naomi and Janet had scrubbed any trace of him from their Instagram. Coincidence? Not likely. Speculation about their relationship isn't new. It kicked off way back in 2001 when they posed for Vogue together. They popped up on the red carpet again in 2018 for the Pirelli calendar launch, but shut down any talk of romance, with Naomi insisting they were nothing more than close friends. She even told sources things like, "We really do have a brother-sister relationship and I adore him." And if that wasn't convincing enough, their vibe during Naomi's No Filter with Naomi YouTube interview in 2020 had fans commenting on how personal and relaxed they seemed together. The two talked about Diddy's experiences as a single dad and his career in music, showcasing just how tight their bond was. Even so, she's been deleting her past with Diddy, like many others. Meek Mill turned his back on him, Usher also deleted everything, and all the other A-listers want out.
You know why they say he shouldn't be released before trial? While locked up, they allege that he has been trying to improperly contact victims, witnesses, and other people, is trying to taint a future jury, and is employing his family to do his bidding.
Diddy has cooked people, and you will soon realize just why Naomi and others are distancing themselves. Naomi Campbell's longtime connection with Diddy is under the spotlight like never before as Diddy's legal troubles unravel. Once celebrated for his influence in the entertainment industry, Diddy now faces grave allegations that paint a much darker picture. Federal charges of trafficking and racketeering accuse him of orchestrating a system where victims were coerced into horrifying acts through manipulation, threats, and drugs. The freak-offs that have long surrounded Diddy's reputation are no longer whispers, they're at the core of these allegations. This disturbing web of accusations naturally leads back to those who've been closely associated with him, and Naomi Campbell's name is one that can't be ignored. Her long history with Diddy raises more questions than answers. But the drama doesn't stop there. Even while in custody, Diddy is accused of attempting to tamper with witnesses and manipulate public opinion. Prosecutors allege that he used other inmates' phone access codes, orchestrated social media campaigns involving his children, and even arranged payouts to influence potential witnesses. It's a strategy that mirrors his alleged tactics outside of jail, where he's been accused of silencing victims with NDAs and hush money. As the legal storm builds, the spotlight on Naomi intensifies. Her connections to other high-profile scandals, like her alleged involvement with Jeffrey Epstein and the troubling accusations of her luring others into dangerous circles, only add fuel to the fire. So here's a thought. What if Diddy was using Naomi to do some of his dirty work? It might sound wild, but when you think about the circles they both run in, it kind of makes sense. Naomi Campbell's always been connected, rubbing elbows with some of the most powerful people in the world. She's got that star power and influence, and someone like Diddy, with all his shady dealings, might have seen her as a useful ally. If you look at it, Naomi is someone who's been in high places, met high-profile people, and maybe even used that to help Diddy behind the scenes. We've heard stuff about her introducing young women to wealthy men, including accusations from influencer Elsa Menimbo. So could Naomi have been helping Diddy in some way we don't fully know about yet? And then there's the question of why Diddy always had her around. He was flying across the globe with gifts, attending her events, and just being overly friendly with her. Maybe it was more than just friendship. Maybe he had her in his corner for a reason, and maybe with all these allegations coming out, she's now ready to jump ship and abort the mission. Deleting all the personal history that exists online is just where she started. Obviously, she was not a ride or die friend, and there is so much more going on behind the scenes, but time will tell us all. We don't have all the facts, and it's all just speculation, but the connection is there, and it definitely raises some serious questions. And with Diddy also facing over 24 civil lawsuits for allegations of SA, capital R, and exploitation, it's becoming harder to separate those in his inner circle from the dark accusations that surround him. Naomi's history with Diddy and her presence at these events make it difficult to dismiss the idea that she knew more than she's letting on. So, what do you think? Was Naomi just in the wrong place at the wrong time, or is there more to her connection with Diddy than meets the eye? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to check out our next video for more updates, Naomi, Diddy, and others.